Welcome in, you guys. Welcome to Radical Resilience. Tonight, we are excited because I'm so glad you finally made it in safely from the traffic. I know you was running trying to get here. You guys, sorry, we're a little bit tardy, but we're going to get rolling. And tonight,
Get rolling, because we
so
got.
excited. I'm so excited because cousin and I last week was talking about the holiday blues that comes along and the different things that you can do. And she broke it down, talk about grief, talking about losing people, talking about being alone, all those things. But the week prior, I had the privilege of speaking to our professional upper echelon matchmaker, and we were getting to a discussion about basically really just women, because women is my platform as well. I speak about healing, I speak about overcoming pressures of trying to succeed as a Black woman, and want to hug on our community. And Shay feels the exact same way. She believes in love deeply. I had her on my radio show some years ago. She did an amazing job. She even matched me, and she did a really good job at matching me and also my co-host. So I'm excited to bring her back because she's passionate about making sure that we are matched in wellness. We are matched not just to where we are today, but where we're going in our future. So, you guys, I want to welcome to our platform Shay Primus.
Hello.
Hey, Shay. Thank
Hey.
you for agreeing to join us. We're excited to talk about that conversation of being coupled during the holiday season, because sometimes it's not always a good season for those who are in relationships, in between relationships, let's say, or trying to find the loved ones. It could be sad or a time of grief for them. And then there's those loved ones, people who've been married forever, like myself, who pretty much don't are not too happy about the holidays because we don't want to pretty go see the in-laws and all that stuff. So there's a whole bunch that go along with relationships, right? So
Absolutely.
it's a lot. So share with us how you find perfect matches during this difficult time for some.
Well, honestly, for matchmaking, it's a perfect time because this is when people are lonely. This is called cuffing season. And so when
Hmm.
it starts getting cold, people realize that they're in this bed by themselves, they home by themselves, and holiday season is approaching. And it's like, oh, you become very much aware of being single.
Hmm.
When in the summertime, you forget that you're single because you're out and about, you're taking trips, you're clubbing, you got on your bikini, and you're getting attention. But when it gets cold, people really start to realize how single they are, but sometimes on the flip side, loneliness can set in, right? As we know, what do the lonely do at Christmas and all that, So
Yeah,
that can
yeah.
definitely set in. But for matchmaking, it's easier to match during this time during cuffing season because people recognize that they are by themselves and they want to make a change.
Look, so this is her busy season. You know how vacationers have a high season, a low season. This is your
Yeah.
high season.
This
That's
is
amazing, Shay. So you
so
see,
Absolutely, this is my busy season.
when does it pick up? Is it when kids go back to school?
So starting, yep, August-ish. Yep, exactly. When the kids go back to school, as the summer ends and you're home by yourself and you start realizing, oh, I need a partner. When it starts getting cold, it's gonna be another uptick. Holiday
mhm.
season, of course. Valentine's Day, big uptick. So
Mhm.
it really only falls off around summertime. But those other pieces, the holiday seasons, it reminds people of their relationship status, of what's going on for them.
So
So
do
Shay,
you have to, I'm sorry, do you have to kind of prepare your clients for the or how you set expectation? Like, not everybody gonna be matched, and not everybody gonna find someone, and then there's that's still, you know, is it just something seasonal? I only want to be matched until Christmas and then they kick the rocks. Like, how do you prepare people
Oh
for
no,
expectations?
no, it doesn't work like that. So I guarantee introductions. So we
Okay.
as matchmakers can never ever guarantee that you're gonna find true love for the rest of your life. This is the person you're gonna marry. We can never guarantee that. So we match based on introductions. So, depending on which package you get from me, you might get 10 introductions, you might get 20. And
Okay.
I can guarantee that you're gonna get solid quality introductions. And so that's half the battle for a lot of people, is finding quality people who meet their requirements, people who have something going for themselves, who are also looking for somebody quality. So that's usually half the battle.
Okay. Go ahead, Andrew. You had a question?
yeah, I was just curious at well, kind of like what you said. How do you match folks up? What is the process like? How do they find you? How do you find them? All of that.
Well, a lot of times people find me on social media. I'm also on Bravo's Love Match Atlanta, so if they have watched the show, and it's also on Peacock now, so
Oh,
then they'll
okay.
find me through that.
Nice.
Yes, and then word of mouth, which is the biggest. I love being referred. People refer me often, so people go on my website, they create a profile, and from there I do a consultation with them. I have a sex therapist on staff, a regular therapist, astrologer, two photographers. We have like a whole process to get you prepared. And then I'm a certified dating coach as well as a matchmaker. So I'm working with you to just understand your previous relationship patterns and things we need to break so that you don't repeat those same mistakes.
Oh wait,
For
let's talk about that patterns and things you need to break. Look, because I've been married forever, and I haven't been in the dating game. I didn't even know there was such thing called a dating coach.
Absolutely.
I've
And so,
never
like for
heard
you,
the
and
term.
not to speak this on you, but there are people who've been married 20, 30 years.
Mhm.
Imagine if you were suddenly not married. You wouldn't know what to do. You wouldn't know where to start. There's online dating now, there's social media. The game has changed since when you were single, right? So
I
you
can
would need to
tell.
understand what's going on, what's happening out here in the dating atmosphere. So I would help you understand that. We would work on how to date. Most people don't have date clothes. You probably don't have date clothes. Married people and single people dress very differently. So when
Yes.
you're married, you tend to cover up, you're dressing more modestly. When you're single, you're trying to show it off because you're trying to catch.
Oh,
So sometimes I meet people and I go through their closet and I'm like, you don't have any date clothes. We got to get some date clothes. We got to help them understand what
oh
questions
wow.
to ask, how to vet people. Because when you've been with somebody a long time, you don't even know what questions to ask a potential, right?
Yeah.
So it's how do you vet somebody to make sure that they are compatible with you? Recognizing what patterns you experienced previously, so that you don't repeat those things in the next relationship. So if you've identified some red flags or some things
Mhm.
that happened in your previous relationship, then I will teach you how to avoid that going forward. So it's a whole lot that
Wow.
goes with this. Yes.
That's really good. But
That
what do
is
you
good.
what do you think is the biggest one of the biggest mindsets that you face when matching men? Because I'm going to ask you about the women too, but what is it the biggest mindset that you have to come up against when matching men with women?
Matching men, sometimes I think one of the biggest thing is older men. You could be 50 something and they really think that some 25-year-old girl is
Oh,
seriously madly in love with them, and it's like, sir, she just sees you as a sugar daddy, a paycheck. It's not serious. And I think sometimes they really feel like, well, I got it, I can pull this, and it's like, you can pull her, but is she
right.
sincere, right? So that's
That's
one
right.
thing. Sometimes I think sometimes men just have this thing of wanting to see if they still got it, if that makes sense.
Okay.
um so that's usually a big thing. And you were going to ask me about women. Women can have unrealistic expectations of what they think they want,
Right.
especially successful women,
Okay.
because we're successful. We can choose what we want. We can choose the house we want, the car we want. So we typically try to customize a man as well. And you can't customize a person, right?
Right.
So it's like, I want him to be this tall, and I want him to have these degrees, and I want him to have this amount of money. And sometimes the person that's right for you might be shorter, might be, there are different concessions you might have to make. And
Mhm.
sometimes women aren't willing to concede to that. It's this
Right.
ideal of perfectionism.
That
So
is so
speaking of conceding to that, they recently had this thing go viral about where not to go on first dates. How do you set expectations on things like that? Like, don't take me to no chain restaurants. And like, if you got all these things that you don't want to do on a date, how will a person know what's actually right?
Well, I think understanding what is dating, right? Dating is collecting data. So it's really not about, did he take you to the cheesecake factory? Did he take you to the Olive Garden? That's really not what it's about. It's about, am I collecting data? Do I have enough information to make an informed decision about this person? That is the objective of dating. And sometimes we lose sight of that.
Mhm.
It's not about, did he spend $500 on me at this restaurant? Although there is some data you can collect from that, but you can collect quality data sitting at a park, talking to somebody
Right.
for 2 hours, or sitting on a phone call, or sitting in a car at a park. I mean, like, you don't have to spend money to collect the data. Right now,
Gotcha.
I'm not about struggle love and telling women to settle, but I mean, we have to stay focused on the objective. The purpose of a first date is to get to the second date. It's a vibe check. It's, do I like you enough to have a second date with you? It's can we have a conversation? Is he clean? Did he show up on time? Things like, do I like him? Does he make me laugh? That's what you're trying to ascertain. It's not about, did he take you to a fancy restaurant?
I totally agree.
I
And
totally
matter of
agree
fact,
too.
you take me to some fancy restaurants, trying to spend all this money. I'm like, okay, where you trying to take the fast train to?
Exactly. It's so many red flags that could pop up with that. You brought up a good point, Angie. It's so many red flags that could pop up with the fact that he spent $1,000 on the first date. Why? You don't even know me, sir.
Why?
Yeah.
What I was curious about too. I used to think this, and I want to know your thoughts on it. Say, for instance, when people meet, like a woman meets a ball player or something like that, it's so easy to fall in love when you have the finances to support this utopia of, or this high feeling of excitement and being stimulated. But then after they get married, now real life kicks in. All that stimulus has to simmer down because now you have to kick into what is it being a wife, what is it being a husband. Have you experienced people that have gone through that high and then hit a real low and they don't know where they are and feel lost?
Yes, because it is absolutely important to know the difference between this person whining and dining you and their character flaws, their
Oh
characteristics, their
yeah.
integrity. You got that stuff can't overshadow who that person is. Because yes, I can buy you the whole world, but if I'm a messed up person, then we're gonna have a messed up situation, right? You can't cover that up. And so, yeah, you can meet somebody that takes you on trips and buys you nice purses and wines and dines you. But if he's crappy on the inside, you're gonna have a crappy relationship. Period.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
So
That's true.
true.
How'd you get started in this, Shay?
I've always just been like a big networker and a people person, and I can recall, like, even in college, I went to Clark Atlanta. I would have parties, and people like, everybody. I would know everybody. I've always just been a big networker, and so whenever I would have a party, folks would go, "Hook me up with that person. Hook me up with that person." And so I was like, let me figure out how to monetize this. And so I
Good.
did. I went and got certified and learned how to monetize it. Yeah.
I used to watch what's her name, Patty Stanger. I used to watch her all the time. I don't know
Yes.
what happened to her, but she was pretty good too.
She was, yeah, and I love her. She actually taught me at the Matchmaking Institute, so I love her.
Oh,
So it's a
fantastic!
whole
Uh,
institute and everything. Good Lord.
Absolutely, yes. There's a whole there are a whole institution, several of them actually, and conferences, and we stay well connected. And honestly, that's how I get a lot of my referrals, because I stay connected to the matchmaking community,
Hmm.
um, because they're the ones who will know. Like, and most of the matchmakers are white, so if a black woman goes to them, and they probably have more advertising dollars, right? So they might have a billboard, or they might have a commercial, and black women will call into them, and then those matchmakers will refer them to me. So that's how I get a lot of my clients, actually.
Okay.
Oh, cool. And so, all right. So it's the holiday season, right? Taking a date to meet the family for the holiday. Is that a yay or nay for a first date?
For a first date, no, that's a definite that's a definite no. I think unless you have a kind of family. This is a caveat. If you have the kind of family that won't get easily attached, that's just cool, they're not going to be asking you about him tomorrow, and y'all can just do like a fun bowling date or something like that. But a sit down at the dinner date, ooh, I would not do that as a first date. That's a lot of pressure. I know, like, my dad would be drilling somebody, giving them a no, no, no. I would not do that for a first date.
That would
And
totally
speak-
change the holidays.
and speaking of that,
Absolutely.
what about for those people who are getting up in age and they haven't found Mr. or Mrs. Right yet? How do you coach them in approaching the holidays? Because some of that stuff can be a little lonely for
Yeah.
them at this time, when you're going back to grandma's house and she gonna say, "Baby, you ain't got no kids yet," or "Baby, you ain't married yet." So, how is there a mindset that you teach to your clients regarding that?
Yeah, if they are, well, first of all, I think I want to say this before I answer that. I think a lot of times women do not put ourselves out there. So we are sitting at home expecting somebody to come knock on our door and say, "Hi, I'm your husband." And it just doesn't work like that. So, first of all, we can do a better job of putting ourselves out there. And the holidays is a great time to do that. There are lots of holiday parties going on. most companies have a holiday party. This is a great time to actually meet Mr. Right. So I would say get cute. If you don't have a stylist, get one so you can come dressed to impress, and really focus on introducing yourself to people. Make it paying a compliment. It can be really easy just to say, "Oh, you look good. I like your haircut. Nice shoes. You smell good."
Mhm.
Really quick compliments to maybe snag Mr. Right during the holiday season. That's what I would say first. But then, yeah, when you get home and with the family, it's important to set boundaries even with family members. If it's something that you don't want to talk about, it's okay to say, you know what, I don't want to talk about my personal life over dinner. I don't want to discuss that right now. My personal life is not up for discussion. It's okay to set boundaries, even with loved ones, because your mental, you got to protect your mental health at all times.
That's good stuff right there, Shay. That's
Arthur,
good.
because you had another question I thought was very interesting about the different activities which you that you would, well, I guess you kind of asked about what to do on dating, but like say
Mhm.
for instance, Shay, when you say single people need to put themselves out there and go to different events, don't they need to understand that dating is expensive? Like one time I went on a date years ago, and the guy thought it was just about him. He was like, "Yeah, guys got to put out money for the dinner." I'm like, "Dude, do you know how expensive it is just to get myself prepared to go on a date with you? You know, it costs a lot of
Absolutely.
money to get prepared."
Yeah, it can be. And you know what? I've dated men who have even covered my babysitting costs. I have a toddler. So, you know, they'll say, oh, they understand we got to get hair, makeup, outfit, you're doing all these things. And for me, I have to get a sitter. So they would say, you know what? I'll cover that for you. And I do appreciate men who are generous. And for me, that's something that's important. You need to be a generous man. I cannot do somebody who's stingy, that's going to be an issue for me. Um, but I think yes, dating can be expensive. I don't think it is necessarily because you can also do budget friendly dates. You know what? Poor people find love every day. Poor people get
Yeah.
married every day. And they don't make it this difficult, right? To be honest, they don't. It'll be like, hey, we're gonna go to McDonald's and grab a burger, and they do, and you know what I mean. It doesn't
Yeah.
have to be expensive, but it will require creativity, right? If you
Right.
want to buy, you can go to the dollar store and get some canvas and some paint and do like a sip and paint in the park. I mean, it really doesn't cost a
Yes.
lot, but you
Wonderful.
will have to be creative.
Yeah. And that's the key also. Even after like me, like I've been married for forever, that we still do things like that because after you are in a committed relationship, you got to find ways to keep it fresh. So we'll do like
Absolutely.
picnics at midnight at the park or by the water, or we'll do little things like that's not even big, like ice cream dates. Or we used to do after I was in school, we come home from school and do a date at like just go have some wine or drink at the bar. Just a little date, nothing expensive, just so that we can spend quality time. And I
Yeah.
think people don't they undervalue quality time.
Quality time is huge. Yes, exactly. Because if you don't spend quality time with somebody, especially if that's their love language, then the other person can feel neglected. They can feel
Right.
like you don't love them. If that's my love language and you're not doing that, I will feel like you don't love me at all. So it's very important to, and that's what I mean. Like, it doesn't have to cost a lot, but it does take effort. It does
Yeah.
take effort. You have to put in some effort.
And if you don't have the funds, it's going to take some creativity, which we have a lot of if we just slow down and tap into it, right?
Right, exactly. Absolutely.
Can you
You can
tell?
have a game night with each other. You can invite some friends. I
Yes,
mean, there's so many things you can do that won't cost a lot, but could be fun. Like a cookout, inviting folks over. I love stuff like that. And it doesn't
me
have to cost
too.
a lot. You can do BYOB. You know what I mean? There's so many things you
Yeah.
can do that will take away the cost factor.
Are you able to like pick out like when you're doing the intro conversations with your customers, clients, are you able to figure out right off the bat like who's a commitment phobe, who has issues with commitment?
Yes, if they tell me that they've never been in a relationship, if you're 35 plus and you've never been in a relationship, you have a string of situationships, you've never
Situation.
locked it down, yeah, then I'm like, oh, are you afraid of commitment? That is something I will know.
Do you have ways that people can actually work on that? Work on being afraid of, like open that up and kind of heal that situation
Yeah,
that they
that's
have?
why I have the therapist on staff for that reason, to your point, because that would be something that we would need to address. Like, why are you afraid of commitment? Is it abandonment issues? Have you been abused? Like, what's the root cause of that?
That's
Um, and that there are things that people can do to work on those things. Absolutely.
Wow, that's so
right.
interesting.
Look, she got this thing down pat.
You do, because
Oh, thank
and
you.
I'm thinking here, like me. I told you, I shared the other day that I have, people that I talk to who been married for a while. Their husbands pass away. They're not necessarily wanting to go out on a date, but they want companionship. So how do you set that expectations where, you know what, I still like to date, I still like to go out, but I don't want nobody to get real serious with me,
You
you
tell
know?
people that up front, because listen, there are definitely people in the dating market, like I said, with the situationships. There are people who do just want companionship, but they don't want commitment. They just want to go on trips. There are some people who have whole vacation relationships. Like, that's all they have. They just
Wow.
go on vacations with somebody, and that's it. That's it. They come back home and they regular life, but they go on trips with people. That's what they do. And there's some people who they'll take you on a sporting event. Like, people do that with folks, but they don't have any intention of ever settling down. They don't want to be boyfriend and girlfriend. They don't want to get married again. They just want to have that relationship.
Wow. And how do you explain that to if you're that type of person, how do you explain that to your loved ones who are pushing you? You should get back out there. You're still attractive. You still got this going on. You can offer so much, so many people, so many other things. How do you explain that? So that's not my vibe right now.
I think you say just what you said. I mean, first of all, I think you should set a boundary if that's even something you want to share with your family. But if you choose to, you can say, "Listen, I'm really looking for just a companion. I just want somebody to spend time with, maybe go to catch a movie, catch a show." Like, you just tell them that's what you're looking for. And there are a lot of people who are looking for that. I have clients who come to me and say, "Listen, I never want to get married again. I just want somebody to hang out with." So those people do exist. And if you're honest, I think it's important to tell even your potentials that up front. Hey,
Hmm.
listen, I don't want to settle down. I don't want a relationship. Are you okay with us just being friends for the rest of our lives? And some people will say yes. But what's wrong is to mislead somebody, lead them on thinking that
Okay.
one day y'all gonna get married and live happily ever after, when you know that's not what you want.
Mhm.
Now, do you find it's more that the females who don't want that, who automatically think, oh, because you find me, attractive, that you want me, and I want to get married. So how do you know, or how do you teach people to know the signs or the different expectations from,
I think
because
you
there's
ask
just
questions.
players out there who just want to keep playing.
Yeah, you have to ask questions and set timelines. So I'm really big on boundaries. So if it's like, hey, I'm looking for marriage, and I don't think it takes more than 6 months to know if you're ready to do this with me or not, or whatever your timeline is. I said 6 months. You could say a year. I don't think it takes more than a year for you to know. So if at a year mark, I'm gonna check in with you. If you're not ready, I'm gonna move on. Or at 6 months, I'm gonna check in with you. If you're not ready, I'm gonna move on. It's okay to set those boundaries, stick to them. Boundaries are for you. So you need to set a goal for yourself. Because listen, what you don't want to do is be sitting around waiting on somebody 5, 6, 7 years and they still ain't made a move, and you really looking for marriage. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
Child.
set a boundary and stick to it.
Yeah, that sounds like, when I hear you say that, what I think of is setting a personal mission statement for yourself and a vision for your relationship. And we're going to talk about that next week, about setting personal missions statements. We talk about that all the time for business, but you should also have a mission statement for your life, as well as a
Absolutely.
vision statement for your life. And I found it sounds like you're saying you should also create one for your dating habits as well.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm all about that. And I absolutely think that when we don't set boundaries, we feel like somebody's walking all over us, they're
Mm.
using us, they're taking advantage of us. But nobody can ride your back unless you've been over. And when
I,
you don't set a boundary, you're
I
bending
like
over.
that. I like that. I thought I came up with some good ones. That's good. I'm gonna copy that too, by the
Yeah,
way.
no, for real. My granddad would say that to me all the time. But if you don't set a boundary, you're bending over. You're letting them ride your back. And it's for you to say, you know what? No, this is my boundary. Um, I'm gonna date you. We can get to know each other for this amount of time, and after this point, I'm gonna check back in. If you're not ready, I'm gonna remove myself from this process, because I know I'm looking for something serious. And if you know that, don't let somebody continue to string you along.
Good stuff, Shay. Good stuff.
Okay, what is going on? Tell me if you notice this, that women have forgotten straight away from and don't understand that men actually follows their lead. Because I have found the women to be so afraid to be upfront and transparent about whatever their needs are, whatever the concerns are, giving a hard no or a hard yes, whatever it is. It's like they're afraid to because they're afraid that the man is going to walk away if they speak their mind. Have you
Yeah.
noticed that?
Absolutely, but I think that comes from a scarcity mindset. We think that there's so few people, so when I find this one, let me latch on to him because there's nobody else in the whole wide world, and that's a lie. There's
It's
so you haven't even begun to meet the 4 billion people there are. You know what I mean? You haven't met all these
that's
people,
right.
so I think we live in this world. We think, oh, I met this one person. If I don't lock in on him, or if I say this, I'm gonna lose him. Don't think like that. There's an abundance of people who could be the one for you. And if you get out more, you'll see that there are a lot of people who could be the one.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm so glad you gave that perspective about you hadn't even
Right.
begun to meet the 4 billion people that's in the
You
world.
haven't. I promise you haven't met them all. Because there are people in different countries you ain't even thought about. They speak a different language. You ain't even thought about those people. And I think if we open ourselves up, you have the whole wide world to choose from. Really. And especially as Black women, we tend to limit ourselves to Black men. And I don't think we should limit ourselves. I think you should. Your mate can be anybody, literally anybody. Don't limit yourself. Don't restrict yourself.
Why do you
Why
think?
is that though? Why do you think?
I was going to
Why do we think
say,
that we only limit ourselves to our culture?
I think that in our minds, we typically, when we close our eyes and imagine our husbands, it's a Black man. That's just what we think. Um, but we're the most loyal out of any other demographic, and even more so than our men, right? And
right.
so it's unnecessary to be so, right? If you open yourself up and you remove the restrictions and the limitations, you'll find that you have more options. Sorry, there's some kids screaming in the
Yeah.
background. You'll find that you have more options, and I just think that we should open ourselves up. Not that I don't support Black love, because I do, but if you meet somebody who's good to you and who loves you and who's ready for commitment, go for it. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, go for it.
Women have a hard time giving themselves permission to move outside of societal's pressures, family pressures. And, it's just like ingrained in there. And it's not until they actually lose those people, say, for instance, they've passed on, then all of a sudden they become alive like never before because now they
Mm.
don't have those limiting beliefs anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm all about removing the limitations, not having a scarcity mindset, having an abundance mindset, believing that anything is possible, and believing that when you were created, God created somebody, a companion for you.
Yes,
You
ma'am.
hold on to
Yes,
that. Don't ever
ma'am.
forget that. That person is out there looking for you just like you're looking for him. So if you believe that, you can attract that person.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. I had one. I cannot think. I had one question that I thought of early this morning, and I can. It's not coming back to me. But I'm gonna get to it before we get off this live, though.
Shay, so when you find women have been, I'm thinking about when it's time to set this woman up on a date, and you've encountered that she's hurt from some rejections. Some things have like are just shut down, and her belief system is not where that man needs her belief system to be because he's a great guy, but you think that she could be right for him. So you kind of like coach her into, okay, here's how you're going to move through this relationship. And you have to partner up with them. So it goes beyond just that initial date because you have
Absolutely.
to make sure, yeah, you're healing it. Like you're a healer in this thing here.
Yeah, so it does require coaching. It does require me holding their hand through the process and understanding what is the block, what is the fear, because usually that's what it is. It's fear,
That's
and
right.
just walking them through it. Like, it is so beautiful to me when I'm able to walk somebody through that process and they let their guard down and they open
Yeah,
themselves up for love, and next thing you know, they're sending me pictures and they're on a trip, or he proposed, or they're I
that's
love this
amazing.
whole process. This is the most
Yeah,
rewarding thing in the world to me, because I believe there's no job more rewarding than helping people find love. I feel like I'm doing God's work of helping
absolutely.
people come together
Yeah.
and build relationships and build families. I love it.
Because not only are you bringing them together, but you're also helping them heal to their next level of maturity.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
Yeah, I
my
was going to
process
say that too.
it's an inside out process. Absolutely. It is not because it's not just me introducing you to somebody. It is an inside out process. I'm working with you on the inside, addressing these things that have held you up and caused you to fail before, addressing those so that we can move forward and have a healthy relationship.
So does that process look like, going through their triggers or going through their woulda, shouldas, and couldas, so that they can kind of unpack the things that are bothering them or that got
Absolutely.
them stuck or afraid?
Absolutely. That is exactly what it is. It is unpacking. And I do an exercise where I look at all of their relationships and we understand the patterns, like what's been the thing that was the common denominator with each of these relationships, and
Hmm.
understanding how to break that pattern. Oh, so you're
Okay.
attracted to this. Oh, you stay when they do this, you don't leave when they do this. So understanding what that is so that they can move forward and break that habit.
And what about this type? Like you have a type, you like, because I see sometimes folks who when they are in relationship, but then the next guy looks just like the last guy, physically in the way they carry themselves. How do you break things like that?
Well, yeah, listen, your type will keep you single. So if you sit there and I only date this, you're gonna be because that has failed you. And all these times you did that and it didn't work. So maybe it's time to switch that type up.
Mhm.
Hmm. Yeah, that's so good. Oh,
That
honey,
is good.
that's so good.
Your type will absolutely keep you single. Stop. Your type will absolutely keep you single. If you continue to do what you've always done, you're gonna get the same results.
Same results. That's called
So
insanity.
now, not everybody has the budget to find you, right? And then that's okay. That's
Yeah.
okay, right? What advice can you give those who do not have the budget to find you, but they feel like they're ready? They've gotten their kids settled, they're this, they're that, they're ready like to put their mind to it, but don't know where to start. What do you
Right.
suggest for
Um, yeah, and matchmaking is a luxury. It is, so it's I try to keep my prices more affordable than other people, but I still understand that it can still be outside of people's budgets, and I understand that. If you are ready though, I truly believe you can attract the one for you. I truly believe that. I believe in the law of attraction. So I think if
yeah.
you do the work on yourself, and a lot of times ladies aren't gonna like that, but sometimes that work is outward. It is going to the gym, it is dropping a few pounds, it is investing in a stylist and looking the part, it is pulling all of that. Your look has to be on point, pulling all that together. But if you invest in that, if you invest in yourself, when your energy is high, when
Come
you
on,
Yes.
feel
Shay.
good,
Come
when
on
you
now.
look good, you will attract better. You will attract
That's
a
right.
better quality person,
That's
because that energy is absolutely attractive. And that's really all you have to do is work on you on the inside out. Work on the inside out, and you can attract that person. You don't have to pay for a matchmaker, honestly, if you do that work.
And I
right.
definitely can attest to that from, like I said, I've been married forever. But when I was in the dating field, it seemed like as soon as I stopped focusing on the dating and focused on myself, that's when I found my Mr. Right.
Absolutely. Everybody says the same thing. Absolutely.
Absolutely. That is so true. So, Shay, I am actually in Belize right now.
Oh,
Yes.
nice.
So for 5 years now, we're going on 5 years now. I've been coming back and forth to Belize because my daughter, she flies for the airline. So I have flight benefits, right? So I come here all the time. And I promise you, it's like a magnet. As soon as I just started really doing what it is that I like, that I enjoy, that makes me feel good, I attract everything, the wealth, everything. It just keeps coming. And I was just telling my friends yesterday that the life that I live right now, my brain can't catch up to it. I keep trying to believe. I'm like, I just want to sit still for a day so I can kind of believe what's happening. But then something else keeps happening. I just keep getting more and more and more. And so I realize I'm living the dream, not just dreaming. I'm actually living the dream. So it's all because of
Yep.
self care.
Yes, it
Absolutely.
is. And
It's so
absolutely.
huge. And people take it for granted, but it's so huge. I a year ago I went to Rick Ross's Boss Up conference, and he offered me $1 million to match him. And honestly, that's what changed my business, changed my whole business model, because I used to be
I saw
middle class
that
matchmaker.
episode. I
Yep.
saw it. Yeah.
Yeah, and then well, I couldn't match him under middle class matchmaker, so that's when I elevated to upper echelon. But being upper echelon, I have just now signed a contract where I'm matching multimillionaires and multi-billionaires.
That's
I
what's
can't believe
up.
my life right now. My life is
Yes.
amazing, you know.
Yes.
Go ahead
Um,
now.
but if I had limited myself, that's what I mean by having this abundance, and
Woo.
not having a scarcity mindset, because now
Yeah.
I take the limits off, right? And I know everybody can't afford me. I can't really focus on that, because look what my blessing is. The people who
That's right.
can. The people
That's
who
right.
can are elevating me, changing my life,
Yeah.
allowing me to match it. I never thought I'd be matching multimillionaires and multi-billionaires, but now I am. I'm scheduling singles retreats and dates and all kind of things for these people, and I'm like, oh my God, to your point, can't believe my life right now. So if we take the limits off, anything
Yeah.
is possible.
Yes. So
Everything is possible.
That's a recurring theme here. Take the limits off. We've been saying, Angie and I've been saying that for a while now. Take the
Yeah.
limits off
Take
yourself.
them
Don't
off.
limit God. Don't limit yourself. Because it's just like Valerie Burton says, a rich mind, rich reward. You got to
Yeah.
keep your mind thinking about what you want and you live the life that you deserve.
yes.
Absolutely. I wholeheartedly agree and believe that. Absolutely.
Shay, I'm so very proud of you and I so appreciate you. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you for the
Mhm.
invite. I really appreciate it. I've enjoyed speaking with you ladies, and I'll do it again. Just invite me anytime.
Oh,
Awesome.
wow.
Again, where they can find you, Shay.
You can find me at upperechelonmatchmaking.com or on Instagram at Shay Primus Matchmaker. And I'm looking forward to working with anyone who comes my way. I always see every new client
Wonderful.
as being a sign by spirit, and I take it very seriously. So
Amen.
You're so
looking
awesome.
forward.
And then
Thank you.
one last tips for dating during the holidays. If you can tell any person, male or female, what a good tip that you always share. Do you have one thing you would tell them?
I think if you are truly ready to find love, this is the perfect time to do so. I can't stress that enough. There's you gotta think about how many holiday parties there are, just that alone. So many opportunities you can go. You can join if you're in Atlanta, the Commerce Club, the Gathering Spot. Go to any of those events, any of those clubs, and professional. I'm talking about professional organizations. 100 Black Men, there's so many ways that you can go and mix and mingle. This is not the time to sit in the house and be lonely. This is the time to get out and mingle and meet somebody. So that would be my piece of advice. If you're single, you don't have to be if you don't want to be.
Good
Thank you.
job. That's some good stuff, Shay. Thank you again for sharing
Thank
your
you.
knowledge with our platform. We appreciate you. I'm looking forward to meeting you in person.
Absolutely. Yes.
All right,
Dang.
my love. You enjoy
Thank
your
you.
dinner.
Bye bye.
Yeah, enjoy
Bye.
your dinner. And because you enjoy Belize, same time next week.
Yes, ma'am. Look, we actually still had 14 minutes left, but I know your your evening was running. We can cut it short.
Yeah, yeah, child. But life keeps lifing. You know what I mean?
I
Every
know.
week, life is going to keep lifing, and we just keep rolling with the punches with a smile because, like you said, we live the life that we want. You know?
Girl, listen, the good outweighs the bad. I don't even get a chance to spend like 5, 10 minutes on the bad because there's still good that keeps coming.
I know that's right, girl. I
Yeah.
know that's right. So yeah, next week let's talk about personal mission statements for your life, because we as business owners we talk about a mission statement for our business, right? And I think when you figure out, and this goes back to what we were talking about, having peace of mind and knowing your why and knowing exactly what you want so that you can attract the life you want, that
Hmm.
starts doing the work inside of you. So we've been talking about doing the work inside of ourselves for a long time. Let's give people the practical steps on how to get there next week.
Okay, that sounds good. That sounds good. So my book is live now. Rip the
Oh,
Band-Aid
okay. I see the
already.
back.
Yep, you can get the ebook and you can find the link on my platform, but angiekearns.com is the easiest way to find it. So if everybody out there, my ebook is live, and guess what? It's 99 cents because you need this book.
Go
Like
ahead, miss.
seriously, a lot of people have been trying to figure out how to heal, and everybody want to heal, but they do not know how, and they don't have the budget to really afford a bunch of therapy, or maybe not the time. why not dive into a book? So I put everything in there that I did in order to heal me from all the mental chaos that I grew up with, that I had through my younger years, through parenting, through dating, through marriages, all of it. And I promise you, at the time, even though the failures felt like failures, they were
Hmm.
actually high levels to success.
I
So I
know that's right.
embrace them all. And I'm telling you, my last marriage was the most chaotic, and that thing brought me great success, because then it gave me emotional intelligence that I need to be able to share with these women boldly, so I can stand unapologetically and be
I
Angie
know.
Kearns
10 toes down.
today.
10 toes down. We've been, you got the badge and
Yes.
lived through it, and now I can share it. Amen. Happy Author's Day to you too, cousin.
Thank you, my love. Happy Author's Day to you.
All right. And then you can find my resources at Never Accepting Negativity, or on Amazon under DebiAnn Henderson. Looking forward to talking to anybody who needs help with grieving children or children experiencing any type of loss or trauma. Until next week, beloved.
See you, love.
See you, love.
Bye.
Bye bye.